my grandmother and the mom partly, they didn't know what I should apply. So I was always on sick leave because of the sunburn. Like every time I go for games or I walk 2 days to school, I have sunburns. So I have now to stay at home. I remember that day very well. It was 14th of April. My baby went for surgery at 9. He was to come out at 11. He was not out of the surgery room at 1. That day breaks my heart. A lot was going through my mind. Wow, so I don't know, it's the bond between me and my son, because when he came out of that surgery and he was now okay, he was just calling my name. And my son told me, Mom, we will never be in hospital again. Hi.
How are you today?
I'm fine.
Thank you for honoring our request to come on set. So we are ready for this interview. I want you to introduce yourself. I want you to use your own words. Tell our audience who you are. We can start with what your name is, who you are, and how you describe yourself.
Okay. So my name is Angeline Kite. So I'm a social worker by profession. I am a disability rights advocate. I am a mother of 1. Yeah. And I describe myself as love. I mean, yes, it's good to love the people you meet, the people you have around you. Yeah, when you show people love, they will even forget what they are going through. Yes.
That's beautifully put. So why a social worker and why an advocate? Why, when you could be, I don't know, a tailor or other things, why specifically that?
So personally, I think I call myself like a community child. If the community did not hold my hand, probably I could not be where I am. Because I remember growing up, it was my aunties, my uncles, my grandmother, my parents, everybody coming to the table to make sure at least I go to school. So I always feel like it's always good to, I also hold someone's hand in the community. So I like doing community work, associating myself with people in the community, just understanding what they're going through and coming up with solutions. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I like defending the rights of people with disability. In most tables, when the cake is being cut, nobody cares about us, the marginalized, like people with disabilities. So sometimes we have to step up for the rest who cannot speak for themselves. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So you've mentioned that you're a community child. Talk to me about, give me a little background of how you grew up, how your life at home was. Were you a child of a single mother yourself? What exactly do you mean by you were a community child?
Yeah, so when I was born, I was born different. So you can imagine when you are a Mzungu and the rest are Africans, I can imagine discrimination, and the negativity starts from there. So I can say when growing up, I didn't receive support, especially from my dad. So I can say most of the time I was brought up by my grandmother. And for my grandmother now to assist, now she also had to call my aunties, the neighbors. So like when I would be going to school in my secondary school education, 2 days to opening, I would reach out to my aunties, even far aunties, like the sister to my grandmother. So that is like a big community. So they would come together. I remember when I was going to Form 1, this one would buy me shoes, this one is buying this clothes, the other one is paying school fees. So it's like, if it was one person doing it, probably I could not have gone to school. And I think growing up was a challenge, because when you're in school, kids were calling me Mzungu. So others want to confirm if you are human. So they will pinch you to see if you can bleed. Being that I had a problem with my eyes, most of the time, even those kids who are doing me injustice, I couldn't identify them. Someone would pinch me and run. My eyes will not even catch up with them to know who they were. And again, the sun was always too much. When growing up, there was no sunscreen. My grandmother and the mom partly, they didn't know what I should apply. So I was always on sick leave because of the sunburn. Like every time I go for games or I walk 2 days to school, I have sunburns. So I have now to stay at home. So if in that community there was someone who was empowered, I think I could not have gone through all that, especially the sun part. And maybe if there was a teacher who was empowered in school, the students would not be torturing me every now and then. So I think what lacked there was just the knowledge, the small knowledge about albinism or any kind of disability. Sometimes you might even be willing to assist someone with this type of a disability, but you are not sure what help you could give. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. All right. Walk me through how you discovered that you were a person living with albinism. How was that experience for you? Because like you're saying, when the kids want to pinch you to confirm whether you like them, whether you're human, how was it for you when you discovered, okay, so I look a little different from them? Because I'd like to think that as a child it wasn't very clear. But there's a point where it really kicked in. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so when I was a child, before I went to school, I actually didn't know I was different. And even when they were pinching me, I didn't know I was different.
Yeah.
I remember the time I knew I was really different. It is when there were stories that people with albinism were being stolen and killed. I think I was in class 3 or 4. So that is when it hit me so hard. I don't look like these kids.
Yeah.
Because that time now my grandmother would take me to school and come for me back to school. Or if I go to school, now a teacher would even escort me. Because they were scared I would be stolen. Because I remember there are some people who came to school and now they said they were my relatives and they wanted to steal me from school.
No.
Yeah, so the teachers hid me that day. So I was wondering, why are teachers hiding me? Until now my shoe said to come for me. So my shoes told me now the people like me have been stolen. They have been taken to Tanzania. Then their body parts have been, someone is stealing them, then selling them to people in Tanzania. Then their body parts are being used for rituals.
How did that make you feel?
I just started like hating myself. I was just wondering why I don't look like other kids. Yeah. And now kids started saying, "Ule mzungu ataibiwa. Hebu tutafute mtu tumuuze."
And children can be so mean.
Yeah, they can be so mean. So it was really hard for me. I would even fake to be sick because I don't want to be in school. Yeah.
Okay. So now you want to create a safe space for others.
Yeah. I always like creating a safe space for others. So what I decided, for me, I decided wherever I am going to step, whether it is school, whether it is work, whether it is at church, any environment I step, I just create the awareness. Yeah. And I don't like, people can ignore your rights. Especially this Kenya. They can just ignore your rights. Like when I was in campus, I am supposed, it is by law, I am supposed to do a large print exam. But everybody will ignore. So what I would always do, I would not do the exam.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you mean by large print exam?
My sight is very low.
Okay.
So for me to, if I am doing the same examination with you, my paper should be very large.
Oh, okay, the font.
The font and the paper.
And the normal exam paper is just very...
It is very tiny.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how much I will struggle to read. So I need something larger.
Okay.
Yeah, that is just to accommodate me, because I'm competing with someone else whose sight is well, everything is okay, and we are doing the same exam, and want us to take the same time. Yeah. Yet I will struggle to write and read.
Okay.
Yes. So I always encourage people with disabilities. Whatever you know is right. Don't compromise. Let them do it the right way. Yes. I decided I'm not going to do that next exam. The exam had to stop. And then they went to Nairobi and brought a paper. Yes, because people will always ignore your rights unless you set it straight. Okay. Yeah.
So you've talked about the challenges that have been there right from when you were a child all the way, I'm assuming, until now. How did you deal with those challenges then? Those stereotypes, like the kids were saying, wanataka kutafutia mtu atakuiba. How did you deal with those challenges then? How are you dealing with them now? Because I'm assuming they have not yet come to an end.
Yeah, so when I was a child, I think my grandmother was there to support me, really.
Okay.
So for her, she had the wisdom, so she could guide me, and she would always make sure that I forget about them. Yeah. Even if I had a weird day at school, my grandmother would make a safe space at home, and she would also go to school sometimes and even educate the students, because she was a teacher. Okay. So she would come personally, talk to the teachers, and the teachers would be told that this is what I'm going through and this one should stop. Okay. Yeah. So these days the challenges are not many. So what I learned, as I have said, just it is always good to know your rights. Okay. When you know your rights, you'll always know how to overcome. Yeah, because even at work, someone could, if you don't know your rights, someone will just assume. Like, for example, even if I'm doing my job, the first thing I tell my bosses is, this, I cannot go to sun, I cannot do this. So what I have learned, always express yourself. As long as you know these are the rights, the Constitution has given you this privilege, wherever you go, always express yourself. Okay. Yeah, just express. Say, this one cannot be done, this one cannot be done. Like if you have gone to somewhere, you are someone who is using wheelchair, there is no lift, it is a new job, you will not offend anyone if you tell them, we need to have a ramp here. Yeah. Because why would they be lifting you just because you are scared of being fired? Yeah. So if you know the right thing and you express it, people will always understand. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So that was then, this is now.
Yeah.
Angie today is a mother.
Yes.
I'm interested, very interested, which is the subject of why you're here today. Talk to me about how you learned you were pregnant. Did you always want to be a mother? Let's start there.
I learned I was pregnant in 2016 because my son was born in 2017, April. So I wasn't expecting to be a mother. I learned I was pregnant when I was 5 months pregnant. Yeah, like, you see, you don't know you are, and actually, you could not see my pregnancy. Like even when I went to deliver, the doctor would not see the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like I was just tiny, the stomach was tiny. And I was just from campus, so after campus, and we had just started receiving your menses maybe a year ago. Sometimes period would even stop for 3 months, maybe because of weather.
So the irregularity didn't throw you off?
Yeah, it didn't throw me off. Yes. But I had some few vomiting here and there, but I was just ignoring. So when I one thing I have learned in life, always move on very fast. Accept, move on very fast, because life will not wait for you. Yeah. It's just like even when you are grieving, just move on. Like this world doesn't wait for you. So I moved on very fast. I accepted my pregnancy. Yeah, and the journey was not really easy, but again, I received the support, and my baby was born, and now he's almost turning 7. The only challenge that I have experienced mostly, my baby had a lot of complications.
Okay.
So I was young, naive. My baby had a problem with the ears, the eyes, the testicles. So we were always in and out of the hospital.
Okay.
And I even didn't know the problem.
Okay.
Like, he was always sick. Today, macho inauma. Kesho, masikio sijui iko na maji. Kesho kutwa. So, yes, I can say the hardest part of being a young mom was seeing my baby go through surgery at the age of 3.5 years.
Oh, that literally just made my heart stop for a minute. At the age of 3.
3.5 years.
Why?
Because of the testicles.
Okay.
And I remember that day very well. It was 14th of April. My baby went for surgery at 9. He was to come out at 11. He was not out of the surgery room at 1. That day breaks my heart. Wow. A lot was going through my mind. Wow. So, I don't know, it's the bond between me and my son, because when he came out of that surgery and he was now okay, he was just calling my name. And my son told me, Mom, we will never be in hospital again.
He's a strong boy.
Yeah, he is a strong boy. Actually, he is the strongest person I have ever seen. And I remember he didn't even want to, he was all wrapped here. Then he just wanted to remove everything. I told him, no, if you remove this, you will also go back there. But he told me, no, okay, let me not remove. My son is a very mature person. He always understands. We always have a conversation. Since he was 2, he really understands. Like he asks for something and you tell him it's not there, he's fine. So actually, God had his words. Because since that day, he has never been in hospital. Till today.
Till date.
Yes. But before then, we were in and out of hospital. Yes, so that was the most breaking part. The rest, bringing up my son, that one has never been a problem. I can say God has always opened doors for us. Okay. Yes, he has opened doors for us. He gets everything he wants. And he always prays for me. Yeah.
What is your favorite moment when you with your son? What is that one thing that you hold very close to your heart?
Yeah, my favorite moment, one moment that I have witnessed. So my favorite moment was when when my son now celebrated the birthday then. That was 28th, and he was fine. He was healed. So I just remembered he had never celebrated any of our three birthdays happy as he was in his 4th birthday. Yeah, so that was, I was like, wow, yes.
That is a strong boy you have.
Yeah, Liam is the strongest boy I've ever, I mean, he just thinks like a human being. Yes. He will never demand for anything. No. We will always have a discussion. Mom, today is Tuesday. Do you have money for pizza? If I say no, okay, let me pray for you, you will get more money. That is how he reasons. Yeah.
He's very mature for his age.
Yeah, he is very mature. I mean, God gave him wisdom. He's like my pillar. He always think, not like a kid. Okay. And when you go to the supermarket, before you pick something, he asks, do you have enough money? Okay, if you don't have, no problem. Let me pick this one. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to bring my kid to your place for a boot camp. It seems there are a couple of lessons he needs to learn. He might just picks things. I think we need to discuss a play date or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to tell me, Liam is aware that you're an albino, and he isn't.
Wow.
So, what is that like for him? Have you had that conversation? Does he talk to you about those things? Like when you drop him off to school, when you're picking him up, what do his friends think about he and his mom not looking alike? Because like you mentioned before, children can say very mean things. So what is that like for Liam?
So, Liam is aware that the mom has albinism.
Okay.
Before he would ask me, Mom, but you don't look like the rest. Then I didn't want to explain to him, but I would tell him, no, I'm actually not your mom. Maybe I would show him another person. I tell him, this is your mom. I'm not your mom. But it starts from, does this child know that you are the mom? So Liam knows I am the mom. Like you cannot convince Liam. He doesn't care how the mom looks. Whatever he knows that this is this mom.
Yeah.
This is the mom who has been there for him. So what happened, I remember when I took Liam to the new school, kids were calling me Mzungu, like everybody came outside. Everybody came outside and they were shouting. Then Liam told me, I am new, but I am going to deal with them. Like, you cannot abuse me when Liam is there. So when I went for the parents' meeting, and I went to their class, now people called me Mzungu. Liam stood in the class and told them, my mom is not a Mzungu. And if you call my mom Mzungu again, you will see.
You're a very brave boy.
Yes. He said like that. So by then I had not told him anything.
Yeah.
That was last year, January.
Yeah.
But he's always there to defend me. If you call me a name, you will find it rough.
Okay.
So now I am, once in a while, I you know, he cannot know everything about albinism.
Yeah.
So for now, he can only know you are different, and he has already accepted that the mom is different.
Yeah.
And what I have done, I have introduced other Muzungus, other Muzungus to Liam.
You're a smart woman.
Yeah. So Liam knows like 10 Muzungus, both men and ladies.
Okay.
So I usually, and my brother is also a Mzungu.
Yeah.
So Liam at least knows like 11 people with albinism, And I always tell him, these are my brothers. So the first thing I wanted, because he has already accepted I am the mom, I also wanted to introduce him to other people who look like me, so that she doesn't feel, my mom is the only one who looks different. So she knows like several who look like me. But when I try to tell him, Liam, unaona sisi ni he doesn't want to hear like that. Yes. So he doesn't know about albinism, but he knows I am different. He doesn't want people to call me those names. And at least he knows the mom is not alone. There are other people who are like that. Yes.
Okay. Right. So the next question. The question that our audience is waiting for. And I've dragged it out a bit. So the question is, Liam's dad. You are a single mom, which means he's not really in the picture. Talk to me about that. A couple of guests that we've had tell me he's 1 foot in, 1 foot out. The others are completely gone. So what is it like for you?
Yeah, so I can say 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But it is just a decision I made. You know, when you are different, if people want to treat you in a funny way, when you are different, most people want to see you as a lesser human. So sometimes you'll get the treat which maybe someone who doesn't have a certain problem couldn't have experienced. So I think I just made a decision that I don't want him in the picture at all. Yes. So that I can know all these are my responsibilities and Liam is my responsibility and we are going to discuss that with Liam.
Okay.
Yes.
So when that time comes and he's curious, he wants to know about his father, will you let him?
Yeah. He knows his father, but he knows the support is minimal.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So my final question is, Liam doesn't have albinism, but he knows that you do, and he has seen a couple of people in your circle who do.
Yes.
When you were expectant, were you worried that he would get albinism? Because you just mentioned you have a brother that has albinism. So what was it like? Were you worried that he'd get it? How is it that, how did you feel that when he was born without it, regardless of all the other conditions?
Wow. So I was just praying like every day, every night that Liam doesn't have albinism.
Okay.
Yes, I didn't want Liam to have albinism, and I wouldn't want to have a kid with albinism, even in future, because I don't want them to go through what I went through or whatever future might have, because this world is so cruel. So for me, I was just praying to God, oh my God, I don't want Liam to have albinism. Then Liam was born and he was so brown. He was just looking like he has the albinism. So I would always watch on him every minute. I check the hand. Is it turning dark? Like, I was just watching every moment to see at least. You know, when a child is born, you are not sure because the child could be too brown. So you are not sure, is it albinism, is it...
You just want to confirm.
So I was just there confirming every day. Until now I confirmed that he was dark. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I want you to tell that mother something, that mother that is living with albinism, that mother that has maybe 1 or 2 or a couple of children, and on top of being a single mom, there's the stereotypes that come with living with albinism. What would you tell them?
Yeah, so let me start with the mom who is raising any child with any disability. but you should not give up. You should not give up on that child. If my grandmother did not hold me, I don't know where I could be. So if you have any child with whatever disability, don't give up on them. Always ask for help. Sometimes it can be tough. You are raising this kid. You know, when you are born with albinism like this, 98% of the dads run because they are not even aware that they can also sire a kid with albinism. They are thinking you went with a mzungu or something like that. So most of the children with disability are raised by single moms, and a number of them by grandmothers, because the mom got the child when they were young, so they also ran, and the dad ran. So the grandmother will not leave that child. So any caregiver who is having a kid with whatever disability, don't give up on that child. You never know that child, where the child is going. And to the people with the disabilities having a child, you are a single mom or a single dad, also don't give up. Always just work hard in life, because also, you know, the world will not look at your disability. You have to compete. It is a competitive world. So just do your best, work. There is organizations that can listen and help. We have the National Council for Persons with Disability, and we have other several organizations dealing with disability where they have counselors if you need any guidance. But the main thing is, whatever the circumstances, never give up.
Okay. So thank you for having us, Angie.
Thank you.
Thank you for honoring our request. This was a lovely day. Thank you so much.